Jamaicans all over the world, wherever you are, home and abroad, I'm happy to be back again to bring you some of the reflection of the common sense issues that I'm looking at political in Jamaica. For the past couple of days, I've been thinking about our politics in Jamaica. And the more I think about it, the more a few things a thought comes to my mind. And for some reason, I just couldn't shake it. So I decided to capitalize on the thought and, try to bring some common sense to it. I'm talking about systemic deception, which is rooted in partisan political blindness. The question I end up asking myself coming out of that, do we need a civic rebirth? Do we need a civic rebirth? But let me just shed some light on the issues that I was thinking about. Systemic political deception. It's very subtle. It is not something you're going to see on a daily basis. You may recognize it by hearing people talk, or you may know it may happen in your circle, or you're high up enough in connection to recognize the subtleness of this systemic deception. Systemic political deception refers to the manipulation and distortion of the reality of social impact and social and environmental impact within the social, economic, and political issues in order to maintain power, influence decisions, and help to shape public opinion. Now let me say that again. It refers to the manipulation and/or distortion of the reality of social and environment impacts within the social, economic, and political political issues to maintain power, influence decision, and help to shape public opinion. As I said, it is very subtle in nature, or in practice for that matter. For example, government may select specific research to fund, but you won't know that. Or the controlling of certain regulatory board by special interest people or vested interests. Those are the systemic deception. Those are examples of systemic deception, political systemic deception. And I'm quite sure that from our perspective as citizens of the country, some of us who are understandable enough would have recognized some of these deceptions. We may not be able to put finger on that, but we realize that something of this nature has taken place. Like I said, coming out of all of that, I asked myself the question, do we need a civic rebirth? Now, over the years, participation and trust in governments, its institution, and most importantly, the decline in confidence in our democratic process has sunken to level unimaginable. Let me say that again. Over the years, civic participation and trust in government, its institution, and most importantly, the decline in confidence in our democratic process has sunken to level unimaginable. When I say civic rebirth, this means all efforts directed at revitalizing, strengthening, and securing civic engagement and participation in society. I've been articulating this for a very long time. And it is something that just stuck with me over the last couple of days. thus resulting in becoming an integral cornerstone of as one of the pillars of our democratic institution and democracy itself. Now, civic rebirth means all efforts should be directed at revitalizing, strengthening, and securing civic engagement and participation in society, resulting in becoming an integral cornerstone as one of the pillars of our democratic institution and democracy itself. Now, I want to use this opportunity to say that, to highlight that I must congratulate Miss Mia Motley of Barbados for winning her election. I heard it was a landslide. I washed out for the rest of the contestants. Congratulations to you, Miss Prime Minister of Barbados. But I want to say this and shed some light on the fact that politics is changing right across the world. And we in the Caribbean are no exception, especially Jamaica, which I'm about to speak in. And the kind of civic rebirth that I just talked about is what we want amongst a lot of us in Jamaica today. It is important for a lot of us now to start to wake up and realize the systemic political deception that is taking place right in front of our very eyes, which is rooted in partisan political blindness. Because it doesn't matter what JLP does, JLP supporters turn a blind eye to it. It doesn't matter what PMP does, PMP supporters turn a blind eye to it. So the question I'm throwing out there, do we need a rebirth? I also want to ask all my subscribers and viewers and new ones and established ones, recently added ones, you come across this video, please like and share. And at the end of the video, I want you to listen to this video to its end. And jump in the column section and tell me whether or not this makes sense. Tell me whether or not I'm speaking political rubbish. Or tell me if Jamaica really needs something like this. Leave your comment on what you think about this presentation. I've taken the opportunity because I know Jamaicans are all over the world, in some corners of the world that we can't believe. So I've taken the opportunity to expand on the publication of this platform to a number of other countries across the world. Recently, I've gotten a few because I just started and I got a few, and I know it's going to continue to grow. So I want everyone who comes across this video, please help us grow it. Please help me grow this platform, because I think we're onto something good if we're going to survive as a nation. As I said, I've always called for togetherness, because up to now, I don't believe PMP is better than JLP or the JLP is better than the PMP. I don't believe that. I want to use this opportunity also to speak on something that I read in the Gleaner. And it dovetails beautifully on this whole systemic deception, political systemic deception that is rooted in partisan political blindness. Thus, my call for a civic rebirth. But before I get into what I read this morning in the Gleaner coming out of the Ministry of Finance by Favour Williams, Miss Williams, I want to go back to Miss Williams' very speech of budget year 25-26. I remember clearly, Miss Williams, you made a comment about there was some program, I don't remember exactly what it is, I got to look up my notes, but you mentioned some thing about a program government was implementing, which was has implemented already, which would save citizens or people an extra $2,000 in their pocket. And if they put away that $2,000 per month for 3 years, they would have $72,000, which would be a solid deposit, a make-sense deposit on a pro box. Now, having read the projection of the new 26-27 budget now, the question I'd like to ask you, Ms. Williams, where is that 3-year projection that you spoke about in your last year budget? Jamaicans, I want you to listen carefully to what I'm saying, and in the comment column, respond. Tell me if I'm making sense here. Okay, here's a 3-year budget, a 3-year plan for Jamaicans to pay down on a poor box. But the very next budget blows that out of the water. The very next budget blows that $2,000 savings out of the water. And at the time when the government, when she made that speech and that promise, a lot of JLP supporters was up in arms about, oh yeah, it's a great idea, delightful, yeah. Give people a chance to get a pro box for themselves. Without even knowing what the next budget is going to look like. I remember, Miss Williams, I said at that time that that comment you made about the budget was disrespectful, was dishonest, and was just a feel-good story for Jamaicans who are not thinking, on their feet, thinking through what you're throwing at them. Because one of the subtle deception of politics also is for politicians to control the narrative. To control the narrative. So people believe what you say, what you guys say, and not what they're seeing for themselves or what they're feeling for themselves in the economy, from the economy. I want to get into your 26-27 budget, the projection that was published in the Gleaner. But specifically, I'm going to talk about the sugary tax. And I can understand the government need for cash. I've been saying this all along. Even before the election, one of you guys became the next government. I know any party that won that election come to power would need cash. Whether they were the hurricane or not. You people are hiding behind the two last hurricane, Beryl and Melissa. But if you're hiding behind those two hurricanes right now and have no cash, that means it tells me exactly what I was saying. I'll confirm exactly what I was saying all along, that Jamaica is in an existential crisis. And we are still in an existential crisis. But that amount of money projected to earn in year 1 and year 2 from the tax you place on sugary drinks, Miss Williams, I take it that your ministry had done a research on the matter. Because there's no way you could put these figures concretely out there. What you will earn in year 1 and year 2, and the percentage of tax. You could not arrive at that figure without the numbers to support that. So what it tells me that you're expecting the demand to remain at the same level it is. Here's the deception. When certain interest groups or specific regulatory bodies are controlled by government or by specific people, special interests or vested persons. Here how the deception comes in now. The Art Association of Jamaica lauded that suggestion coming from you, because they're well aware that if that goes through as you said it, less people will be drinking sugary drinks. Because it means less people will be able to buy it in the quantity they used to, or some may not be able to buy it at all. But what the Art Association of Jamaica fails to even put out there, hinted at. Sugary drinks is not the only cause for diabetes, obesity, heart murmuring, and all of these heartfelt diseases. Sugary drinks are not the only cause. And what they also overlooked, Miss Williams, is the fact that when you price these things, the only people who feel the burden is the poorest of the poor. The people who are at the bottom rung of the economic ladder, they're the ones who feel it. So what happens when they are not able to buy these things, the sugary drink in the quantity they used to, it put a stress on their family and their pockets first of all. So that stress is transferred from the parent to the extended family, children and maybe grandmothers who are living in the same premises or the same house, and other relatives. Now what the Art Association and all of us realize is that when stress hits people, it causes your heart to beat a little faster. And a faster beating heart can lead to has the potential to lead to any heart problem. So what I'm saying here is, even when less people are able to buy or drink sugary drinks, the spin-off Art Association is that not being able to purchase these things to accommodate their children at home, put the very parent and the very people you're looking out for, you think will have less heart problem, put them in a position to develop heart problem in a different way. It's like we have a crime fighting tragedy in Jamaica going on. Kill them out, which is good. But you're killing out the youths, and what is government providing? What kind of training for the younger youths who are coming up so they too do not fall in the same trap the youths before them did? You're not providing for the youths who are coming up. You're killing out the ones now, because they're into crime and gang-related issues and all of these things, activities. That's fine. But what about the other group that is coming behind them? How are you preparing these youths to be what? And as Professor from UWI said, who is on the JCF advisory board, said in an article, I think it was late 2024, the government, CMJLP government, has not provided any social infrastructure in place to help prevent the youth them from turning to crime or getting involved in gang violence or experience violence to the point that's going to push them to become violent themselves. Nothing is in place for that. But everything has been in place to kill out, but not to protect the next set. Miss Williams, I really don't. I can't agree with doing something when on the other hand, it is so deceptive that it creates another problem. Or it creates the very same problem you're trying to get away from. Last year you said in your debate speech, in your budget speech, there was a number of jobs out there unfulfilled. So people can get work. 3 months after the Prime Minister came and said, yes, youths are in training to fill those vacancies. We haven't heard one crap about it. Ladies and gentlemen, let me use this opportunity to welcome you once again to the Lenny Robbins YouTube show. Know your politics. Let's come together to create a better understanding. With the systemic political deception that is happening in Jamaica, grounded and rooted in partisan political blindness, it is time for a civic rebirth. It is time for a civic rebirth. We need as people to wake up. We need to get back and realize now that we need to start to participate in helping to direct our efforts to revitalizing, strengthening, and securing our civic engagement and participation in the society. And we can do this at all levels, from the community level right up. We don't have to get into representational politics, but we can do it from our community level. A lot of us can do it. The Kiwanis Club is there. Other clubs are out there. Community youth clubs are there. We can do it if we want. School boards are out there. We can do it if we want. It is time for we to wake up to a civic rebirth. Ladies and gentlemen, blessed love to all Jamaicans. And as I said, you see this video, please like or share, subscribe to the video, and let me know through your comment whether this, what I'm saying, what I've said here, makes sense. Whether or not I'm onto something, let me know. Is what I'm saying of any value to us in the future, now or in the future? And if so, if not, just let me know in the comment. I look forward to your comment, ladies and gentlemen. I look forward to you subscribing to the channel. I look forward to you clicking and viewing this thing, this presentation. And share it. Spread it across. Spread it across. I've upped the distribution side of it to a lot more countries, about 5 more countries or 4 more countries. So I should see a lot more growth, and I want you to help me grow this platform, because like I said, it is now stepping up, it is now growing. I have a lot more time on my hand now to do the research that I need and to contemplate what I need to contemplate. I'm just here to make common sense of what I see happening in front of us, because it's important to make sure to reach out and try to help other people to understand from a common sense perspective where we are politically and where we can go, what we should do, what we can do to help ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, blessed love to